A Glock review. How do you film a Glock review? You pull the trigger and it goes bang? I don't even know what to do with this. G'day, it's Woody here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at Glocks. Now, Glocks are pretty common. They're extremely well known. There's going to be less of a Glock review, but more of a comparison between the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 Glocks, and also a comparison between how I've set them up and how they shoot. As always, these Glocks are safe and clear. Glocks have been around for ages. They're a extremely common and proven system, especially in the military and law enforcement area. I've only been shooting pistols for about 18 months or so. I got myself a couple of Glocks because they're a cheap, reliable, affordable, easily modified platform. When I say modified, I haven't really modified anything that makes a Glock, so I haven't changed the trigger or any of the firing system, spring, barrel, or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, if you buy Glock for the reliability of it, you're probably making it less reliable by changing out those reliable Glock parts, if you know what I mean. But I have made some upgrades based on the kind of shooting that I like to do. But first of all, I'm just going to compare the differences that I've noticed between the Gen 3 and the Gen 4. And then we'll move into how I've customized them and some of the other Glock related parts that I enjoy and I think you might like to see. So these are both Glock 17As. The A means that it's Australian compliant, which means it has the 120-ish millimeter barrel. As you can see, the barrel sticks out a little bit longer than your standard Glock 17 would. There's not a lot of difference between the Gen 3 and the Gen 4. The main noticeable difference is going to be in the grip. The Gen 4 has a much more aggressive stippling on the sides of the grip as well as the back, whereas the Gen 3 has the most aggressive stippling on the finger grooves and on the back strap, and then it's a lot smoother on the hand. They both have this very similar, if not the same, finger grooves. The slide and barrel are almost identical in their appearance, so there's not much difference there. One difference that you might notice if you strip these down is the recoil spring, the rod in the middle of it. Sorry, I don't know all the terminology, but the rod that houses the spring in the Gen 4 is metal, and in the Gen 3 it's plastic. Now, like I said, I haven't modified anything that really makes a Glock a Glock. I haven't touched the trigger or the barrel or the firing system at all, as far as I'm concerned. That's what makes Glock so reliable, so I haven't touched it.
Don't touch it! All right.
Let's start at the top. So for optics, I fitted the ZeroTech Thrive HD reflex red dot. It is an RMR style footprint. It is an extremely reliable red dot, has a lifetime warranty. It has a side loading battery tray. It has tons of elevation and windage adjustment. It's got, I think, 11 brightness settings, and it has that shake awake on off. So I can leave it on, and then as soon as I pick it up, it'll wake up and the red dot will come back on again. I've paired that with some TrueGlow MOS height or suppressor height sights. What that means is that if for whatever reason the red dot goes down or stops working, not that it ever has or I expect it to ever will, but if I break it or something happens, I can still shoot this gun because I can still see in the bottom quarter of the window, I can still see the iron sights, which means I can still shoot this gun whether the red dot's on or off. It did take me a bit of time to get used to shooting with a reflex red dot, to adjust my sight picture. It takes practice, to be honest. When you do that presentation, I found myself a lot of time presenting and then sort of dancing to try and find where that red dot was. But you get used to it pretty quick. And once you're used to finding that sight picture, you do get on target extremely quickly, and I do enjoy that. That's all the modifications I've made to the slide. Was optics cut, thanks to Harrison Gunsmithing, and the TrueGlow sights, and the reflex red dot optic. Moving down onto the frame, Olight sent over the Valkyrie PL-3. It's an awesome light. You can have momentary on-off, or you can have click on and click off. It's an extremely bright light. One of my favorite things about it is that it has a magnetic charging base. That is awesome. Not having to open a dust cover and then fiddle with a micro USB or mini USB or USB-C type port. It has a magnetic base charger that just slaps on there. I really love that feature. it makes it extremely easy to keep this charged up. I find that it adds, now that I've got a lot more weight on the slide with the, you know, the bigger iron sights, because keep in mind the Glock sights are plastic. So now I've got metal sights on there and an optic on there. I have added a bit of weight to the slide. That adds more force to the recoil, because that's the part that's moving back and forth. So I have found that adding the light on the front has really balanced the Glock hand. As far as recoil management is concerned, it's made a big difference to me. And then the last main modification I want to talk about is the enhanced magwell. So this is a Magpul product, and it is essentially a flare kit for the magwell. So when I drop the mag, I don't have to be as perfect when loading it, essentially. I don't have to be perfect at loading. I don't have to, you know, focus too hard on there or make sure the mag goes where it's supposed to go. With the flare kit, it does guide it in, gives it a little bit more forgiveness. I can slap that thing in there. So if I'm shooting in an IPSC style competition where quick mag changes are important, just makes it a lot easier for people that are trying to be quick or not as good with their hands. Moving on to the Gen 3. So comparing it to the other Glock as well. So another thing that I've noticed is the mag ejection button, not as good. So on the Gen 4, it's a much bigger button. I don't have the biggest hands in the world, so being able to reach that button is a little bit trickier. I do find that I have to adjust my grip to get my thumb around the corner onto that button. All right, we'll start again at the top. So this slide, again, I had cut by Harrison Gunsmithing, did an awesome job. I had this one cut to the RMSC footprint, which is suitable for your more slimline Glocks traditionally. So in America, you can still carry and that sort of thing. I cut it this way because I would like to run the Thrive HD Micro Reflex or the Halo, which I've got on there now. I have fitted the standard height True Glow metal sights. I went with standard height because I found the suppressor height took up too much view in the window. And with the low, I can just see the top of the sights in that bottom quarter of the window. But apart from that, it's set up very similarly. So I've also fitted the enhanced magwell, takes the same mags, and it works extremely well. This doesn't have the light on the front, and I noticed straight away that this does jump a little bit more when shooting. It's still manageable at the end of the day. You know, you'd expect in pistol shooting for the Glock to jump. The Halo reflex red dot is an enclosed reflex red dot. So that means it's got the back window on it. So it's a fully enclosed optic. Now that's going to be great for dirty or dusty or, you know, bad weather environments, which means dirt, dust, moisture, and that's not actually going to get on the emitter, which gives me an extremely clear and clean sight picture, no matter the conditions. Unlike a lot of RMSC footprint optics or micro footprint optics, it has the battery loaded in the top. So a lot of micros and slimline optics and that sort of thing have to be bottom loaded batteries. Due to the size constraints, they can't take a side loading drawer like the full-size Thrive HD, which means to change the battery, you have to take your optic off and then put it back on and then reconfirm zero, and that can be a huge pain. So with the Halo, it's a very unique and distinguished look, but it means that you have a top loading battery, which is awesome, I think. It has big plus and minus buttons for you to go through all your brightness settings. I think this also has 10 or 11 brightness settings from memory. Has a lot of windage and elevation adjustment. I've got this zeroed in at 25 meters, and it's a great optic to shoot through. It's great to have a micro footprint, but with such a wide and big window and field of view. I think that looks awesome, and I think that it suits this gun very well. Glocks are very easy to clean, very easy to take down. The slide comes off just by pulling down on the two levers. If you take a little bit of pressure off the slide, the spring, you just compress and take off that little step on the barrel, and then the barrel comes out like that. You can then, you know, brush the barrel, clean the barrel, oil the barrel. You get a fair bit of carbon buildup around the striker system. That just needs to be brushed off. As far as oiling goes, you oil, you know, with gun oil the barrel just like you normally would, and then you do oil like your metal and metal contact points. So a little drop in the slide grooves and that sort of thing is all it needs. You really want to be quite frugal with the oil. And then it goes back together the exact opposite of how you took it down. And that's it. Shooting handgun disciplines is really fun. I am looking to start shooting competitively in IPSC competitions. I've been trialing different holster setups. I have simple Kydex holsters like this, which can really fit on any kind of belt. The only kind of retention that it has is the fact that it is a Kydex holster, so it sort of hugs the Glock. It's fitted to the Glock and it hugs it very well. I haven't had any trouble with it falling out, but again, not the most secure. I also have been trialing this Alien Gear setup. They sent this holster over to me. It's considered a duty holster, so it has 3 layers of retention. So the first layer being the fact that it's a Kydex holster. So that's your first type of retention, is that it's hugging the Glock as it's in there. The second and third levels of retention is that you have to push the button down to open the hood. So I don't know how well that's coming up on camera, but you have to push the button down, which brings the optic hood open. But even then, it can't come out. You actually have to, after you push the button, this is your next level, you have to sweep your thumb back on a lever here, which allows you to remove the Glock. So even if it's in like that with the hood open, it still doesn't come out unless you sweep your thumb back here. This is designed for cops and that sort of thing, so if they get into a fight, their assailant that they're fighting with can't just pull their service weapon out. It's a really well thought out holster. Obviously the benefits of a holster like this with a mid drop is that you can run around a course of fire with it coming loose without your gun accidentally falling out. So I will be trialing this and I'll let you all know how it goes. Another really fun Glock related thing that I've been enjoying is this Magpul dual pistol case. It's not made for Glocks, it's made for really any pistol that you might be shooting. It carries 8 magazines across the top here in these sort of elastic retention bands. It takes 2 pistols and they're strapped in there. That is an extremely tidy case. It's part of their DAKA series. I really enjoy the Magpul DAKA range, as you can see. All right, final thoughts. Gen 3 or Gen 4, they shoot almost identically. As far as the actual shooting goes, they're almost the same. The thing that does pip the Gen 4 to the winning position for me is the mag release. It's far better. I don't have to move my shooting hand that much. It's a big button, it sticks out further. It is far more effective in my opinion than the small button on the Gen 3. Optics, Thrive HD RMR cut or Halo on the RMSC cut. I'm leaning towards the Halo on the RMSC cut. The RMR cut Thrive HD full size is a great optic. I have 0 complaints with it. I think I'm just loving the Halo just because it looks so different. It functions very similarly, and as far as functionality goes, they're almost the same. The enclosed section on the reflex obviously makes it a bit superior in bad weather or bad conditions, but I'm enjoying the way it looks. I enjoy the way that it fits on the Glock. It's almost the exact frame width at the base, but then it still pulls out and gives me that wide field of view. I think that just looks absolutely awesome. And again, because this is ZeroTech optic, it's covered under their lifetime warranty. I have, 0 reservations when it comes to, running and gunning with this thing, shooting competitions with it, and treating it, like a competition gun. So all in all, Glocks are a lot of fun. I do look forward to, on my handgun journey, trying other pistols and that sort of thing, but for my first 2 pistols, these have been extremely fun and they've helped me develop and learn a lot as a pistol shooter. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the feedback that you guys have been giving me. I look to implement as much of it as possible, and please stay tuned for the next gun or gear review. Thank you.